Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Monday, June 24th, 2024. I'm Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins, the Senior Minister here at Sunshine Cathedral.
I am Reverend Dr. Robert Griffin, the Executive Minister. Faith and religion can be complicated for the LGBTQ plus community. Surveys show that evangelical faith is the justification for the greatest attacks on the LGBTQ plus community.
I am Reverend Kevin Tisdall, the Minister of Education. The Queer God Squad is going to explore our religious community. Let's explore the big news of the day and what it means to you.
I am Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell, the Minister of Connections. This is live, and then we are available on demand. We are available on all smart televisions and your favorite social media.
Surveys show that religious faith and church are the main causes of trauma in the LGBTQ plus community. At Sunshine Cathedral, we're here to tell you that you are God's miracle, not God's mistake.
This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. A poll finds that majority of Australians oppose LGBTQ plus discrimination by religious schools. A recent poll reveals that over half of Australians oppose religious schools having the legal right to fire or refuse to hire LGBTQ plus individuals. Conducted by the YouGov/Galaxy and commissioned by the Just.Equal Australia, the survey of 1,500 Australians highlights significant opposition to exemption in the Sex Discrimination Act that allow faith-based schools to discriminate based on sexuality or gender identity. Key findings from the poll includes 52% of Australians opposing such exemptions, while 35% support them. Additionally, 59% of the voters are against funding schools that discriminate, with 71% of Labor voters in agreement. Furthermore, 64% of Labor voters want protection for LGBTQ plus teachers, and 65% of all voters oppose discrimination by faith-based services. Just.Equal Australia's spokesperson, Greig, emphasized that the poll's results clearly show Australians' stance on religious freedom. Greig stated, quote, "These polls results confirm that a majority of Australian and a strong majority of the Labor voters don't support taxpayer-funded discrimination and are saying to the church groups, discriminate at your own expense and not on the public purse," end quote. With the debate on religious discrimination laws ongoing and proposed reform at a stalemate, these findings underscore the public's desire for greater protection for LGBTQ plus staff and students in faith-based institutions. Well, go Australia.
We could learn a lesson.
You know, I think there's so much that they're doing there to continue to, kind of be one of the, to me, I think has been one of the leading countries in the world around these types of issues, and to continue to attack the whole faith-based and school discrimination thing and who can hire. As I was reading, that's like, oh, wow, they're having their own Anita Bryant days all over again in some fashion, which, here in the United States about a teacher who did not want any teachers or gay people teaching our school system. But here in Australia, it's like they're standing up, they're coming together, they're being united to say, use your own money to use this discrimination and don't use public money to do this. Do it on your own dime, not the public, and let's just come together, because at the end of the day, if it's about the kids, let's give the kids the right amount of education that they need and they deserve, and let's keep these things separated.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind religious schools teaching religion. I mean, that's why you'd go there, so that you can have maybe a smaller classes, people share a lot of your values, and so you can study religion. But that is different than indoctrination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what Sunday school is for, or whatever. But education, Monday through Friday, school is to learn. So yeah, teach the flood narrative, and then teach the other flood narrative, because they're both right there in Genesis, different stories, different sources, and then teach the other flood narrative, which is the story of Gilgamesh, which is much older. It's probably the oldest story in the world. The oldest story written down in the world is the story of Gilgamesh, whose global flood was before the Bibles. So teach it. For God's sake, teach it. I wish people knew stuff. Teach religion, but teach it. If all you're teaching is we believe in this and we're against that and we hate that and this is what you do to get into the other world where everything's groovy for you and sucks for everyone else, okay, that's indoctrination. That's for home or for Sunday school. Mm-hmm. But school, math is math. There's no religious math. Mm-hmm. Science is science. There's no religious science. And when you talk religion, teach it. Go ahead and teach it, and show them that there are myths and religions and parables and stories all over the world similar to this. Put it in historical context, put it in cultural context, really teach them religion. Let's have some religious literacy. And if people want to pay extra money for that, fine. But none of that is about discrimination and bigotry and hatefulness. And you can still call yourself Christian without being mean to Jews, without saying that Muslims are going to hell. I went to a Christian seminary, went to a few in fact, and very diverse faculties. I had 2 different Buddhist professors. I had 3 different Jewish professors. I had an Eastern Orthodox professor. I had half a dozen maybe Roman Catholic professors, and of course countless Protestants and every flavor of Protestant. But that was a Christian seminary. It wasn't, and at that it was a Protestant seminary. I went to a Protestant seminary where I'm taking a Christology class by a Jesuit priest, and where I'm taking historical history of Christian thought from a Romanian Orthodox priest, and where I'm taking voice lessons from a Buddhist, and so on, and where I'm taking wisdom literature from a Jewish guy from the Jewish seminary across the street. My ethics class was taught by an Orthodox Jew. That was my Christian education was super ecumenical. So yeah, have your religious schools. I went to them, but that's not the same as narrow indoctrination. And so yeah, have your religious schools, but that doesn't mean that's your haven for gay bashing and racism and telling women they can't do things. And it's not your haven to be hateful. So yeah, have religious schools, pay extra for it. But that still doesn't give you license to discriminate. No matter how you slice it up or how you present it, diversity is beautiful and discrimination is ugly.
No, yay for Australia.
Yeah.
Yay for Australia.
Don't have much to add to that. Again, if you want a religious education, if you want to indoctrinate people, don't expect the government to pay for it. And that's the message that's going on in the United States more and more often, not just religious schools, but charter schools. Charter schools are building their little enclave where they can do anything, teach anything, say anything, and then go to the government and say, give me some money. That's not how it's supposed to work.
Right.
If you want to have that little whatever you call it, then pay for it. The parents can take their children out of public school and put them in your charter schools and your religious schools and any other kind of school, but don't expect me to pay for your child to be told that I am a piece of crap. And that's what's happening more and more.
But even in the private ones, discrimination, like just because you paid more doesn't mean that discrimination is okay.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
They still can't discriminate.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
How to use my money.
Yeah.
you can't have my money if you're going to beat the living daylights out of me because of who I love or because of the way I think. We talk about this at this table quite often about being woke. Yeah, we're woke because we are aware of what's going on in the world and we want to make the world a better place. And the only way to do that is to call out the crazies and let them know we see you and we're always going to come after you.
And what people do, how they use religion, they use religion as a shield for their worst impulses. And that's always, just because you are religious, that doesn't mean you are, that you are dismissed from all the other constitutional protections.
Yes.
And so it's like, everyone has freedom, everyone has equal protection under the law, unless I am religious, and then you have nothing because that's my religion. But it's only my religion. The minute a Muslim or a Satanist, or now it's just crazy. Now it's just cults and, we're going to the dogs and, we've taken God out of the country. It's so stacked to be sort of a pseudo-theocracy. And it's problematic. It is the enemy of liberty. It is the enemy of dignity. It is the enemy of diversity and equity. In fact, diversity, equity, and inclusion, those words, when looped together, are now considered bad words.
Yes.
What? And so, and part of it is because we have let religion be used as a shield to protect people from just human decency. and human kindness and fairness. And we need to address this. So thank you, Australia,
Yes.
for showing us the way. I hope we're smart enough to follow it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, that's today with the Queer God Squad. We want to thank you for joining us. We're here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and discuss what our LGBTQ plus community is talking about.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's largest progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. And we are all in this together. Remember that.
You are God's miracle, not God's mistake.
Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Goodbye.